I really should be editing.
Do it!
Hello, and welcome to Geeky Creativity. In this episode, I'm gonna make the Spice butterfly knife from Team Fortress 2. The first thing I did was spraying spray adhesive on the stencils I had made. After that, I allowed the glue to dry for a couple of minutes just to get it tacky like a post-it note, and then I put it on the wood and traced it. So I finished drawing everything on the piece of wood, and I just want to let you guys know that this is 4mm, which is really thin, as you can see right there. And I'm using a jigsaw to cut this out, which is a saw designed to cut through 30 or 40mm. Some stuff that's this thick, it could easily cut through. So when you're cutting something like this that's really, really thin, you really don't want to cut it out perfectly. You want to cut close to the line and then sand everything down to the line, completely to the line with a disc sander or a belt sander. So, well, I have both, technically, so I'm good to go! After cutting everything, I sanded close to the line, like I was describing before. I used both the disc sander and the belt sander for the straight lines and the disc sander for the curved lines. So when I was talking about being careful with the jigsaw, I was talking about this. So this is what happens if you cut too close to it. It splinters and you get a lot of these ugly grooves and cuts in it. I will have to redo, I think, 3 of these. Well, no, 2 of them. But yeah. I really should start listening to myself. I then sanded out the blade on the belt sander and disc sander. After getting everything smooth, I measured and marked where a hole would be drilled. So I went to the hardware store and I didn't find the drill I needed. I found a 2.5mm, but that's way, way too big. It's a whole 5.5mm bigger. My god. Yeah, what I did instead is I took the copper rod that I was gonna use and I just cut it and sharpened it. Now I made my own drill bit. That's about it, really. After I had drilled all the holes, I ground an edge to the blade to make it look more like an actual knife. Then I made 2 spacer pieces that would go in between the 2 handle pieces, and I smoothed them out on the disc sander. After I had cut out and smoothed all the pieces, I sprayed them with primer. After the primer had dried, I glued the spacer pieces in between the handle pieces and assembled everything to see what it would look like. After the glue had dried on the spacers, all I had to do was just to paint everything. And I found this really, really chrome spray paint in my hardware store, and I used that on the blade and a dark gray spray paint on the handle, and then I masked off the handle and painted a black stripe. I then sprayed everything with a couple of coats of clear lacquer. Then all that was left to do was to glue 2 copper rod pieces in the holes and assemble everything. So I've put the pins in the butterfly knife and everything is finished. The only thing left to do now is I'm gonna show you guys a bit of weathering. I'll probably make a more in-depth video about weathering, because weathering isn't a thing you just kind of glance over, because there's so many different types of weathering. There's earth weathering, there's metal weathering, there is wood weathering, and weathering is just making something look like it's been in use. As you can see, this looks fairly new. Because the blade is very silver, you know, the handle is very gray, it looks new, and I actually love flipping this open. So I'm gonna do a bit of that. So as I said, I want to make a more in-depth video about weathering, but the basics are you apply paint, then wipe it away. leaving just a tiny bit left so it looks, so you can actually see some of the paint, but not much of it. Here's a good example of how much difference weathering makes. So you can clearly see that one handle looks a lot darker and a lot older than the other one. And here is the finished knife. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see more videos, you can click on the annotations or on the links in the description below. And please tell me in the comments below what you would like to see me make next.